That's 10 years since the revolution took place in Tunisia. I recall it well. I was live on air here at France 24 when we took live a statement by the then leader Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. His demeanour told us, these were the images, that a few things were happening around him that perhaps weren't to his liking. By the next day, he'd actually left the country. A pivotal moment then that triggered a series of similar popular uprisings across the Arab world, which became known collectively as the Arab Spring. But has the Arab Spring blossomed into a better future for Tunisians? That's the question we're putting to our guest here in the studio, Rania Arfaoui, who is from the steering committee for Mawjoudin, which is a Tunisian feminist, a queer feminist group. Trying to get that completely correct. From your perspective, Rania, is life better in Tunisia 10 years on?
Actually, we cannot have like a firm response to your question, but on the occasion of the 10th year of the Tunisian revolution, we notice again that it's not only a symbolic and simple occasion and celebration, but it's also about recalling and reminding ourselves of our struggle against the heteropatriarchal and misogynistic and sexist system in Tunisia. And it's another reminder to remain and to reclaim our rights and to be more visible as queer feminists in Tunisia and feminists and women in Tunisia. And I think that the Tunisian experienced feminist and fight has shown the extent of the frames may shift throughout different periods, starting from the post-revolution, post-independence era until to the under the authoritarian regime of Ben Ali. Arriving to the post-revolution era, we have remarked that women and gender equality questions always ended up on the periphery of these demands. And we are, as queer and feminist women, we are participated in the revolution. And yet, when change comes, we are always being excluded and visibilized within our queer and feminist revendications.
Can I just ask one thing?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you can sit here with me now and we can openly talk about this is clearly a good thing.
Yeah.
Could you openly go and do this in Tunisia? Has at least that changed in that sense? Do you feel you have you could do that and not suffer some kind of retaliation, suffer some kind of reprisal? Has life changed in that sense?
Yeah, we cannot deny that there is a lot of things that has changed starting from 2011, starting from the revolution, because a lot of freedom of expression has been implemented in the associative organizations, has the right and the permission to be founded and registered legally. For example, Mawjoudin is a queer feminist organization, has been registered officially on 2015. And we are working on bodily and sexual and queer and feminist rights and other marginalized groups. So this is like in advance, comparing to the right to association, manifestation, and having visibility and expression of freedom. But adding to that, we have still like a legal framework which is discriminatory, queerphobic, transphobic, and sexist. We have like the Article 230 who are criminalizing homosexuality, and other article in the penal code who still criminalizing trans persons and intersex persons and other rights that women, because in the era of Ben Ali authoritarian regime, it was the tendency of state feminism and institutionalization of women's rights to have this image of Tunisia is country that respect and protect human rights culture. It's not true. That's okay that we have right to abort, right to children custody, and other rights related to divorce and marriage, but always it is centered to cis heterosexual women, lesbian women, trans women, non-binary persons. All the queer spectrum was invisibilized. And these laws who are queerphobic and sexist, there is not related to the post-independence independence area history, but also related to the French colonial heritage, dated like the penal code dated is 1913. But we cannot deny there is no any change. The way that I'm here and speaking about queer feminist rights and movement, and in every occasion we reclaim and we are visible on the street with our different beautiful queer flags and feminist reclamations and reivindications to have visible and pressure on the Tunisian government.
It's fantastic that you're here, you're coming to talk to us, and you're really welcome to sort of come and express the way you're very eloquently doing that, and that's great. Things then changing in Tunisia. There's complaints that socio-economically it isn't changing enough, there aren't enough jobs, there aren't enough opportunities. But from your perspective, the laws made by men, essentially for the advantage of men, the social situations and conventions kind of shaped by men for the advantage of men, that's changing.
Not a lot, because the lawmakers, the legislator, this like the term of legislator, it's not concrete in the minds of Tunisian. We say this in absurdity, legislator, but who is the legislator? Who are the politicians? Who are cisdyadic hetero men who are making laws for women, either heterosexual, lesbians, trans, all the non-normative persons living in Tunisia? But it is always about phallocentric making legal norms, and this is influencing the social mentality in Tunisia. And when, for example, in 2015, the Tunisian civil society achieved to pass a law which is pertaining with encountering violence against women. And 2018, we have passed a law, anti-racist law, and lately we have overturned a law that is prohibiting women to marry non-Muslim partners, for example. But there is a lot of a huge gap between implementing and enforcing laws and making laws. There is like a gap. There is nonchalance and negligence of the government to implement and enforce these laws to have more rights.
Rania, you've covered so much ground in this interview, but it shows just how much more needs to be done in Tunisia. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing that with us here at France 24. Rania Arfaoui from Mawjoudin, a feminist queer group lobbying for rights across Tunisia. And as you say, registered, which is, again, is a small sign of progress, which is a good thing. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you.
Thank you for the invitation.
And, and thanks to you for watching too. Stay with us. More to come live from Paris.